over me. Run through the land, you run through my soul. Bring me wisdom and peace. Run through all ages and all of life's stages. You bring me around to find my release.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have from Stowe, Massachusetts, Susan Edwards Richmond, and she is a children's author of the Bird Count. Where did you ever come up with this? Welcome, Susan.
Well, it's actually been many years in the making. This is based on the National Audubon Society's annual Christmas bird count, which is a bird census that they've been doing for many years. And I've been participating in a territory in Acton, where I lived before Stowe, for about 15 to 20 years. So it's something that I've participated in, that I've done, and it just struck me that it was a wonderful introduction to observing nature and bird watching for children, because the bird count is open to anyone. It's a citizen science initiative.
And it's called Bird Count.
It's called the Christmas bird count because it takes place in winter near the Christmas season. It has nothing to do with
Where do
Christmas
they meet
per
up?
se.
Where are they?
Well, it actually takes place throughout the entire hemisphere, but every community has its own, they call them circles. So I'm part of the Concord Circle, and the Concord Circle is divided into territories, and I have 3 to 4 people who are in my territory within the circle in Concord. And we do the same territory every year. We have sort of a route that we follow, because you're trying to count all the birds, not just the species of birds, but every single bird that you see.
This is good, because she does it herself.
Yes.
So you knew what you were doing when you wrote this.
Exactly.
Do you have your own binoculars?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, what is the best kind of binocular to use?
Oh dear. Well, I have a pair of Nikon that's like 8 by 25, I think.
Yeah.
7 by 35 is often a good beginner because it's got a sort of a wider field of vision. But I bird with people who have much better binoculars than I do. I like the Nikons because they're small and I can hang them around my neck and they're not like a big
What do
burden.
they cost?
I haven't bought them for a very long time, so I mean it could probably be anywhere from 100 to 1,000 or more.
Okay, I'll take the 100.
And then there's the spotting scopes also, which you can.
Those long ones again?
Yep. Yeah, so I have one. I have a pretty good one, but those can also those can go up to thousands of dollars. Mine was probably a few hundred.
I can picture you at home. Do you have a lot of bird feeders and that type of thing?
Well, we do have some. We just moved to Stowe, and we're in a property that slopes down sharply in the back, and it's hard to put them up on the porch. So it's sort of at the bottom of the property, but we have a few, and we also have woods in our backyard now. So
where did you come in from? If you just moved to Stowe?
Oh, we were in Acton.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's not too big.
Not far at all.
Not big of a-
We just wanted a little bit more of a more rural setting.
Now, Sue, this is amazing. I love did you
I
design
love the
it?
cover. No, the Peachtree Publishing Company, which is my publisher, found the artist, Stephanie Pfizer Coleman.
Oh, okay.
It's a wonderful company to work for. My editor, Vicki Hollifield, actually asked me about my illustration preferences, what kinds of things were important to me in an illustrator, and even asked me for some suggestions. That's the longest period of time in picture book production is the publisher matching the author up with an artist, because you don't find your own unless you happen to be so talented that you're the writer and illustrator, and I'm not that. But I was thrilled when I saw they matched me up with Stephanie, because as soon as I went on her website, I could tell that she loved birds. She had done the 100 Birds Project, where for 100 consecutive days she had done a different bird, different species of bird.
And this is a cute idea. See, this is the this is Big Al.
That's Big Al.
And he has his binoculars.
Yeah.
And the kids are going to go on.
It's mom and daughter, and that's the team. And Big Al is actually also inspired by my team leader, Al Segroy, who is an Acton resident, who has been my team leader the whole time. So,
now, where have you been? I mean, being a children's author, where have you been appearing?
Well, this book just got released on October 1st.
Okay.
So it's very new. I've been writing in my SCBWI critique group for many years, but this is my debut.
Yep.
So this is my first children's book. Peachtree got me a signing slot at the New England Booksellers Association conference in Rhode Island on Thursday, so I went in there and did a signing, And then we had our launch at Silver Unicorn Bookstore in West Acton, which is a fabulous bookstore. They did
Are
a
you
great
going to
job.
be at the New England Authors Expo in Rhode Island, on December 7th? It is humongous.
No, I'm not there. On December, is that a Saturday or a Sunday?
It's a Saturday.
Okay. Well, the Sunday, I'm actually going to be in Joppa Flats at the Mass Audubon open house on birding.
Yeah.
And I have, I'm going to be at the Boston Book Festival
Yeah.
on the 20th
Good.
in Roxbury. And I'm going to be at Drumlin Farm, which is where I work, on November 16th, in the Stowe Library on November 2nd. So I have we're working on a date with Books on the Common in Connecticut. And
This
that-
is a great time of the year. I get my
Yeah.
authors out there at expos and other places because of the holidays coming up.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that,
Absolutely.
parents coming, ooh, I'm going to get that for my little one.
Exactly.
I like the way she did this on the book. It like you can keep track.
Yes, exactly.
That's fantastic.
We've
Okay,
had a
books-
lot of really good feedback about that feature.
Yeah, this really took me. I love this. I've never seen an author quite do that before, and it helps the children learn. Write down what you're seeing, and it'll tell you, the book helps tell you what each bird is. How long have you been into this?
Well, I've been birding ever since I was a child. When I grew up, my parents had bird feeders in the backyard. We had binoculars always within reach, so
Yeah.
we grew up learning all of the New England birds, the birds that were nearby. Actually, I was in New York. I grew up in upstate New York, but my mother said that it was in New England. She felt an affinity to New England, and then I moved to Massachusetts, so now I really am a New Englander. But I've really been interested in birding
Long
my
time.
whole life. Everywhere we go on vacation. I mean, I don't do a lot of trips exclusively for birding. I do birding days, but I haven't gone like long distance
Yeah.
trips. My husband's very supportive, but he's not as into the birding as I am. So binoculars go with us everywhere, and he knows that if we're going to go for a walk in the forest or a walk by the seashore or wherever, I'm going to
Oh,
have my
yeah.
binoculars around my neck, and there will be stops and pauses while I check out the
I
local
love this
birds.
picture. Look at it. It's showing, that's Al, right, with
Yeah.
children, and they're looking up at the birds.
Yeah.
And as you go along, you fill in what you're seeing.
They're-
What gave you that idea?
Well, it's kind of what we do, on the bird count.
Yeah.
And the idea was to give children an idea of what it would be really like,
Yeah.
as much as we could in a book, to bird watch. So we talk about different birding techniques. We talk about, identifying by color, by field marks, by the way that a bird flies, by the sound. Some of the birds they identify is just by hearing the bird rather than seeing the bird.
I love this now. Look how long the list is getting. And
Yeah.
those are cardinals, right?
Those are
That was my
cardinals.
mother's favorite bird.
Oh,
And look at already how the list grows.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can sit there and read with your little one, and you can write down, or have them start, when they start printing and all, have them write down what they see. Look at this.
And what's fun is that every single bird that's on the pages is tallied, and there's
Yeah.
nothing tallied that's not on the pages. So
Yeah.
there is a direct one-to-one correspondence between all the birds, so they can count. On this page, they can count one Cooper's hawk,
Yeah.
2 cardinals, 1 crow,
Oh, this is
and you
fantastic.
see that added to the
Yeah, the
showing on
numbers are added
tally
right
list.
on
yes,
there.
exactly.
There's a little cabin in the woods,
yeah.
Horseshoe Lane. Houses high deep in the woods. And someone reported seeing an oven bird here. Well, now what's an oven bird?
An oven bird is a kind of a warbler.
Yeah.
They're very small. Warblers you most commonly see in the summer here, but every once in a while, certain species might straggle and be here in the wintertime. And an oven bird, we have seen an oven bird before. I did not see one. We did not see one on that particular. A lot of these instances are actually times that I remember from my experiences.
What about owls? Do you see those a lot?
You usually hear an owl rather than see it.
Yeah.
The Christmas bird count you can start the night before and go owling, and then you're listening for owls. And I've done that a couple times. I don't do that every year.
Yeah.
There's probably, you would either hear a screech owl, a great horned owl, or a barred owl. Those would be the 3 kinds of owls. And this book starts out with the hearing the great horned
Yeah.
owl, because
Yep.
they're up before, up at the crack of dawn, and the owl is still singing in the early morning hours.
We're talking with Susan Edwards Richmond, and she is the children's author of Bird Count. And this is something that your child can do on their own, or if they're just beginning reading, you can help them count as you go along the names of and keep track of how many birds that they've seen. I love this. I would think. Have you presented at schools at all?
Not yet. I would like to do that. I think because this is my first children's book and it's just been released, I've been sort of more intent on setting up events and doing the online marketing as much as I can. I haven't yet gone to schools. I do have a page. I have an educator's page. I have developed curriculum for professionally my whole life. So if you go on my website, which is susanedwardsrichmond.com, you will find a page for educators, and there's curriculum on that page. You can download different activities. There's summary activities, and then there's also detailed lesson plans. So you can, if you want to use this book in a classroom or with a group of children, you can find activities for mathematics, science, dance, English, literature, language.
Where did you go to college, Susan?
To Williams College in Massachusetts,
Oh,
at
good.
Williamstown.
What did you major in?
In English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hence
I
the
did, and I went to graduate school for creative writing, for a master's in creative writing. That was in California.
Where can
actually.
people pick up a copy of your book?
Well, I would hope that you could pick it up at most bookstores. It is available online on IndieBound and Amazon and all the major online sites. But I always encourage people to buy from their local bookstore if they can. I know that a lot of bookstores are carrying it now. If you go and ask for it, you can always order it because Peachtree Publisher is a well-known publishing company. Most bookstores would be ordering from Peachtree anyway. So maybe they would decide to carry it. They would certainly be able to order it for you.
Sue, again, now what's coming up? Where can people meet you in a face-to-face?
Well, let's see. My next event, I will be at the Boston Book Festival on a panel with 3 other children's book authors and illustrators, Joy Nelkin Weeder, Nicole Tadgett, and Carol Gordon Exter. And we will be doing a panel called So You Think You Can Write a Children's Book, kind of a little play on So You Think You Can Dance. And we'll be talking about getting started and how to go about getting into a community and network and revising and all those sort of nuts and bolts of getting started as a children's author. And that will be on Sunday. It will be, you can check online, but it will be at 12:45 is the start time at the Roxbury Innovation Center in Dudley Square on the 20th. Sunday.
Where did you say you work during the day?
I work at Drumlin Farm, Mass Audubon's Drumlin Farm Wildlife Sanctuary.
Where is that?
It's just in Lincoln, right on 117, Lincoln, Mass. And I teach in the preschool there. This is my 5th year teaching preschoolers.
Do you have little ones at home?
No, thank you for thinking I could. I actually have a 24 and a 25-year-old.
Okay, I got a 27-year-old.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
Do they write? What do they think of
They're very proud of me. It's nice to have your daughters proud of you.
Yeah. No, my son. I don't know what he thinks. I don't know. He just he doesn't quite get it. He's a poet. He doesn't know.
Oh, really? Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, my daughters are very good on social media too, especially Facebook. They're on everything that I'm not. I'm on Twitter and Facebook. Sonia is my younger daughter. She is actually a 4th grade elementary school teacher. She was teaching in Korea the last 2 years, in South Korea, and she came home, and now she's teaching in New Bedford at a charter school and living in South Boston. So she actually came to my launch at Silver Unicorn on Saturday. My other daughter, Ilana, is in graduate school at University of San Diego studying marital and family therapy. She's been interested.
Wow.
She was actually an English and psychology double major. She's very interested in mental health.
How fantastic is that?
Yeah.
Now, you were all originally from New England?
I actually was born in California. I was born in Palo Alto and then grew up in upstate New York around the Albany, Schenectady area. So I came to Massachusetts for college to go to Williams, and then have been mostly here since. I did go back to graduate school in California, and I spent 1 year teaching overseas right out of college.
Where were you?
I was at the American School in Switzerland, in
Wow.
Lugano, Switzerland.
Yeah, you're not afraid to travel.
I love traveling,
Okay, that's
and
good.
my daughters love traveling too. In fact, they have taken us on some of our most exciting adventures. We did visit Sonia when she was studying abroad in New Zealand a few years ago, and also when she was teaching in Korea. We just visited Ilana in San Diego. last summer, and we've traveled with her in Ireland.
This will be good for you because you're not afraid to go. I'll always ask an author, all right, how far? What is your parameter? Do you want to stay in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, this part of New England, or are you willing to go out to New York? That type of thing, and then you get scheduled that way. Not everybody
to
wants
do events. Oh yeah,
Sure.
I'm very interested. Whenever we go, like when I visit my daughter will be graduating from USD in May, and also my husband has a conference out there, so I'm going to talk to my publicist at Peachtree about possibly doing an event there. The problem is the birds are completely different in San Diego than they are in this book, and also it's a kind of a winter snowy book, so I'm not sure how much interest there would be in May and June, but it's worth pursuing.
Why not? Is there another book coming, Susan?
I have an agent now, the wonderful Stephen Fraser at Jennifer DeChiara Literary Agency. Very excited that I got him about a year ago, and he has sold one more picture book, but it has not been officially announced yet, so I have to kind of keep it under wraps. It's another picture book. I have another one another publisher has purchased.
Okay. Is it about birds?
It is. That's probably all I should say.
Okay, that's all right. Is it children's book?
And it is it's another children's picture book.
And what will that be
with a bird theme? I'm not sure.
You're not sure.
This
Okay.
one ended up taking 4 years from contract acceptance to
You went
publication.
through all that. You could have done that yourself, self-publishing. You would have gotten right out there.
Yeah, it's so nice to have the backing of a publisher, though. I mean, I've published poetry books before through very small presses, which is also really great. But to have someone who will, this book, they loved the cover so much. Peachtree put it on. It was their cover for their catalog this fall, and to have someone to get you into these conferences and to have you on their website
I know what it's like.
tweet about you. And
So will there be
It's
a
nice.
copy of this downstairs in the Upton Library?
There will.
Okay, look for it,
So
Parents Bird
please,
Count.
please do.
Yeah.
Please,
They're very good. One more time, how can they reach you?
So you can either go to my website at susanedwardsrichmond.com, or you can message me on Twitter at susanedrichmond.
How about that? Now, when the next one comes out, let us know.
We will definitely let you know.
Yeah.
Now that I'm on Twitter, the word will get out.
Well, Twitter's okay, but when
Yeah.
when you get on YouTube
Yeah.
and you film the show, all guests are provided with their YouTube link,
Yeah.
and there are no rules. You take that anywhere you want,
Yeah.
promote yourself, whatever you do.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic, and it
great.
doesn't cost a thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. No, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful
Thanks
opportunity.
for being with us, Susan.
Well, thank you so much,
All
Jan.
right.
This has been delightful.
We'll see you next
Yeah,
time with
thanks
Me, My
so
Guest.
much. Bye-bye.